Aha. Awesome. We did it. Well, I'm just hopping on here, mostly trying out some new stuff here on the live. We'll see if anybody pops on. If anybody pops on and you have questions for me, any screenwriting questions in general, feel free to ask. I am mostly just testing this out, but I wanted to hop on anyway and just chat with you guys and talk about what's going on in the website and the podcast and the show. And also happy to answer any questions. If you guys have anything that you want to ask, feel free to ask. Um, so right now the uh, with the website, I don't know if you guys have gone on the successfulscreenwriter.com, the podcast website. It's kind of up and down right now because it's actually being redone. So I had some things I had to do to the site just for basic upkeep, and then we just decided, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's make the site everything that we wanted it to be. So that has kind of upended everything and made it pretty crazy, which is okay. But soon, probably within about a week or so, the site will be fully updated. You'll have all kinds of extra stuff on there for you guys to get access to, and it's going to be all in one. And it's going to be great, and then I will start putting the new leads I have coming in from producers that are seeking scripts from you guys that you will be able, of course, to submit to for free. As soon as I get that site up and running, I haven't been updating the site lately because it's under construction, so I haven't been able to do it. Um, but all right, I've got a question from Alan Walker. Is it compulsory to have inciting incident at 30 minutes of the screenplay? Well, I am going to say it's actually not at 30 minutes. You're going to want to have the inciting incident at about 10 to 15 minutes, where something is going to happen that is going to start to draw the central character into the story, right? The first 15 minutes of your script are going to be kind of what we call life as it is normal, where we're starting to learn who the character is, their strengths, their weaknesses, the theme, and what they're kind of struggling with. And then something happens to them that starts to kind of introduce them into the story. And then you're going to see that at about the 15-page mark. And from there, you're going to kind of have what's called the denial of the call, where the character is going to be like, no, 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 I can't do that. I want to stick with the way my life is now. And then they'll move into the acceptance of the call. By page 30 or 30 minutes into the script, they have accepted, this change or this challenge that has come to them, and they are launching off into the new adventure and the new journey of their character. And usually you'll see in films or in scripts, when we hit act two is when there's a set change, when there is a new set piece, when it's a brand new location. We are going into act two. If I want to use like Star Wars episode 4, A New Hope, right? They leave Tatooine, right? They're now in act two, if that makes any sense. Let me see if there's any other questions. If you guys have any questions on screenwriting, feel free to ask. Uh, hello from Chile. Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks for hopping on. This is pretty exciting stuff. If you guys have any other screenwriting questions, let me know. I'm trying to do more lives, but like I said, with the updating of the website, it's just been too much because I don't want to overwhelm the site. I don't want to overwhelm the system. And I want to make sure everything is going to come off nice and clean. I hate for you guys to be going on the site and like downloading scripts and stuff like that and then having it crash. But I am excited for the new update. It's going to be fun. Let me see if there's any other questions on here. So I'm not seeing. Let me just check. So I have multiple like channels on like Facebook and Instagram, and I think we're even streaming on TikTok as well. How to This is a great question from Real Nicholas Zachary. How to capture the hero's journey in a 90-second TikTok. Do you skip steps? You're going to definitely combine steps for sure. So your denial of the call and your acceptance of the call is going to be like that quick. Like it would be, instead of being this whole moment that's 3 pages long, it would be like half a second into the acceptance. I actually think of like Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. His denial of the call is about 2 seconds, where they walk up to him and he's like, "Indy, we gotta go and we have to find the Lost Ark." He goes, "Oh, I don't know," and then he's into it. Like he's like, bam, just that quick. And so it doesn't have to be this long arc. It doesn't have to be this big thing. You can just cut it down quickly. But I would really take like a 90-second video and I would cut it down into like 6 to 9 plot points that you're covering very, very quickly. I would not go crazy. Absolutely. Yep. It's a short journey. I definitely agree. And I love the fact that you're looking at trying to make like short little TikTok videos. It reminds me of those old vines, that they would just be very broad concept. Here's my idea. Here's the plot. Boom. And then a big finisher. So what is an ellipsis? So an ellipsis is when you are writing a screenplay and my camera goes out of focus. It's when you're writing a screenplay and it's the three dots in between, either at the end of dialogue or when you're writing your action. And what that three dots means is, if it's in dialogue, it means the person is kind of fading off as they're speaking, getting distracted, or kind of quietly coming into acceptance of something they're saying. They're trailing off. They're not being cut off. They're trailing off. When you use it in action, like she turns and looks to find, and then you do an ellipsis, you're building that up into like a shock moment or to like a surprise moment, hinting at something is going to appear. So she looks to find a car approaching her. It would be something like that. Like that's how you would use an ellipsis. If you're writing format wise and you want to cut someone off mid dialogue, you would use an EM dash, which is like two dashes together. And an EM dash is stating that this person is being cut off either by something big happening in the action or by another character who's interrupting their dialogue. Let me see if you guys have any other questions here. Hi, Ibrar. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Let's see here. I agree. I think 5 minutes shorts used to be a big thing. YouTube 5 minute shorts, like forever ago, was like the mini web series. They took off. Nothing ever really happened for them. People were using those 5 minute shorts as really as proof of concepts of, hey, this is a show that I want to launch. Let's see if it has any interest. And it is what it is. You work with the budget you have, and 5 minutes isn't hard to film. Oh, Alan's asking if I can analyze the Fight Club screenplay twist. And yeah, I can. I can do film analysis on Fight Club. I do film analysis frequently, and I think one of my favorites was The Menu. So I would be happy to make some time and analyze Fight Club. I think it sounds like a great movie. Actually, what I really want to analyze is Joker 2. Since everybody has been walking out of that film, I am drawn to see it. I had to choose between watching that, The Apprentice, or Venom, the third one. And I watched Venom, and I actually caught The Apprentice as well. But I did not get a chance to catch the Joker sequel. But I want to watch the Joker sequel so that I can sit down and analyze it for you guys, because I have a feeling that it's not as bad as everybody makes it out to be, that it's just different. And when you can kind of clash against audience expectations, they tend to hate the film because they have already kind of seen the film in their mind's eye. And then when they sit down to watch it, they hate it. So I'm curious to see, is it as bad as everybody says it is, or is it just different? The name of my YouTube channel, that's an easy answer. It's The Successful Screenwriter. It's named after the show. So you can go on there. I think I've got well over 100 videos. Let's see. Let's see if anybody has any other questions for me. I'll just sit here for a second. If I see the questions start to slow down, we'll just sign off. But I like to get on here and kind of help everybody. So Ibrahim asks, "What do you do about personal development films?" Could you give me a little bit more specification on what you mean personal development? Do you mean like my involvement in scripts that I've had made, or do you mean like about a biopic? Sorry to be nitpicky. I mean, I can just run off of what I think you're trying to say. So John Waring asked more of a statement than a question, but have you been using the subplots a lot more and really added? Oh, you've been using the subplots a lot more and really added depth like the heart plot. Oh, thank you so much. So you're talking about my book. So the guide for every screenwriter. I don't know if anybody knows, but I wrote a best-selling book. It's right there, the orange one. In the guide for every screenwriter, I break down my own plot beats. So 9 of them. And what is cool about my book is I include subplots and how subplots can deepen the script and then how they're related to the main plot. That's kind of like my little contribution to the screenwriting field. It's really helped a lot of people. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you appreciate it and that it's taken your screenwriting to the next level. And, after you've been writing for a long time, come back to the book and look at it again because I found people who kind of develop throughout their journey and they come back to the book, they start to see even more stuff that they might have missed the first time, even though, it's a tiny little book, which was on purpose because originally it was called the Pocket Guide to Screenwriting, but that was already taken. So I had to rename it. And I'm even happier with this still fits in your pocket though, but that's all by design. Let's see if anybody else. Some people don't like some people don't like Lady Gaga, so I don't wanna go see it. I don't okay, that's fine. Oh, thank you so much. Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna end it. I don't see any other questions. I did get a DM from somebody, they asked me about pitching, and I thought that was great. They asked me, like, what kind of experience I've had pitching and some in general questions. So one of the questions they wanted to know is, like, if I'm going to pitch somebody, should I have the screenplay? And I mean, of course, it sounds like an obvious answer at first, but then I could understand why they would say it because if they want to pitch something and it's not going to get received well, then why write the script? And I can understand that that's like, I don't want to waste my time type of a thing. But if you are going to pitch something to a producer, you want to have a script because if you don't have a script and you're pitching and then they request the script, you don't look really good in their eyes because they're like, "So I want this script, I wanna read it, but you haven't written it yet." So I think that's kind of a bold move. I would have the script before I pitch it. Anything I've ever pitched, I've always had the script. Now, I've been pitched by producers, though, quite frequently. Producers have pitched me, "Hey, Jeffrey, I've got this concept. What do you think?" And they'll pitch me multiple scripts saying, "What do you want to write?" And I mean, that's like, I'm so thankful for that. Like, oh, geez, I have producers pitching me work that they want me to write. But if I am out there, like when I was trying to pitch the script that ended up on Lifetime, The Past Comes Knocking, I mean, I had just a quick 30-second pitch. That's what I was pitching to people. Um, if you're gonna get like a little bit more of a meeting, you're gonna have a 3-minute pitch. You could have a 5-minute pitch. If you're in the room with several producers or directors or a studio, you're gonna have a 10-minute pitch, and it's gonna be pretty involved. You'll have visuals with that. So I mean, it's all about preparation and being excited. One thing you always hear about a producer who loves a pitch is they'll be like, they were so excited about it. And it sounds fake, but it's true. Like if you're not interested in the project you're pitching, they're not going to be interested in the project you're pitching. So when I was pitching The Past Comes Knocking, I knew that person, that producer wanted something within the budget. They wanted something thrillerish. They wanted something exciting and different. So when I was pitching it to them, that's the approach I took. Hey, this is within your budget. It's a unique thriller. It's got a great twist. It's female centric. This is what you're looking for. This is what Lifetime wants. And like next thing you know, send me the script. So as far as contacting me, you guys are welcome to hit me up on Instagram at Screenwriter Pod. Ask me some questions. You could always tag me on a post, and I get those. I look at them, if I feel like I'm able to give you a satisfactory answer, I will respond on Instagram as well. Eventually, when we're revamping the website, I'm going to have like a forum type of Q&A on the website. So a different approach instead of more of a community base. I want to do more of a Q&A on the forums. So that way you guys can get on there. You can have access to me and then ask me questions. And then I can just hit you right there with the response. Let's see here. All right. So Selma asks, about to graduate film school. Congratulations. That's fantastic. How do I break into the business as a screenwriter? Well, it's hard. It's taken me years. It's taken me a long time. Um, but I would say do it local, like really go to those mixers, go to those events, meet friends, network. I know it's cheesy. Networking feels like a four-letter word, but that's the truth of it. This is a small relationship business, and then start writing projects that you think can get made. And I know that sounds ridiculous. I just interviewed the writer of Godzilla versus Kong. Okay. Um, Obviously a big movie, and I interviewed him, and I asked him, "Hey, what kind of tips do you have for writers?" And I'll release his episode. I actually already released his episode, and he said, "Write something in a budget that you think will get made, because a producer will be looking at that. If you write a $200 million film, a producer's like, whoa, how am I going to get that? But if you write something that could be done for 100 million, can be done for 100,000, done for 30,000, right? And you start producing that, or start introducing that to a producer, they start going, okay, this is possible. Now, if you can write that so that it's a fire script, it's hot, it's original, it's unique, do the single location if you have to, do a minimal location, something that it's possible to do. That's your calling card. You start getting that out there. But yeah, really, everybody says aim big and write the script you want to write, and I agree with that. But write the script you want to write in a way that it can get made cheaply. And that's how I got mine, because I actually had to cut. Mine was already a lean budget, and I actually had to cut it even more for the producer to get it produced. But now that producer comes to me regularly and is asking me, "Hey, can you do this in this budget?" And the answer, it's always yes. Um, oh, I love that you're sitting on a hit, and I love that you believe in your project. I would look at and see how much is that budget. I have got to fix this camera. This is like awful. Um, what Ibar asks, what type of content do you think people around the world most need to watch? Listen, like if you mean most content most people want to option, like there's kind of staples that are always going to be around no matter what. You're always going to have like low budget horror. That's always going to be a thing. That's never going to go away. It's always going to be in style. Comedy kind of comes and goes depending on the temperature of the world. And I know that sounds ridiculous. Comedy tends to get more hot the more you see kind of aggressive behavior out there, especially fueled by politics and inter-country, issues. You'll see more comedies. You'll see more musicals and things like that, because they're trying to kind of counterbalance the culture. When things are calmer, you start to see more war stuff. It's kind of weird, but it's true. Like look at the comedies you've seen out there and musicals you've seen coming out there out of the blue. It's because the temperature of the world is so hot. Horror is always going to be a thing. Low budget horror is always going to be a thing. Thrillers are always going to be there, smart thrillers, and thrillers are never going to go away, and they're always going to be hot, because they can be done cheaply. That's it. I mean, if you look at like Nordic thrillers, it's a whole genre. And people love Nordic thrillers because they're character centric, because Nordic thrillers don't have a big budget. So they have to have interesting characters in order to enthrall the audience to stick with it. I love watching Nordic thrillers because of that. Because I'm like, look, there's like 3 locations, but my God, I can't look away because I need to know who killed this lady. you know? So I think thrillers are a good one to get into. Plus, if you write thrillers like me, I write thrillers, um, you can start kind of getting known for that, and then people will start coming to you going, "Well, hey, I wanna make this, I wanna make that." So I think thrillers are good. I think it's something that's always gonna be around. Action, superheroes, stuff like that, that's I wouldn't worry about any of that. The budgets for them are so high. Kevin, nice to meet you. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. It's easy to write horror, and then getting those Marvel movies out there. I mean, people first time screeners, they don't realize it. Like, they get in, they write that fantasy movie they've always wanted to see. They're, $500 million into the budget, and then they don't understand why no one wants to talk to them. And it's because the writers that are writing this, there's only a handful of them. I mean, screenwriting is an awesome thing to express yourself with. Like, it's my only form of expression. I can't write, I'm sorry, I can write, I can't dance, I can't sing, but I can write you a story. I can't draw anything, but being able to sit down and, you know, create a story that can move you emotionally and, tie you to the seat, I can do that. So people that find that form of expression, they just fall in love with it. It's the realization that, oh, I have to pull this back and I have to be able to write something smaller. Well, it's harder to write something smaller. It's easy to write something that, crosses planets and dimensions, and I can let my creativity roam free. But when I take your sandbox and I make it this big instead of this big, some people really struggle with that. And then they'll say, oh, you're, you're criticizing my art. And it's like, well, it's an art, but it's also a business. You have to be able to write within what's going to get made. That's just the truth of it. My big concern for writers out there that are just starting to get into it is, here's my concern, because this is something I've been doing this over 20 years. They look at screenwriting like a golden ticket, and I really worry about that, because if you're so stuck in your life that you've got a dead end job or things aren't working out. And so you're like, I've written this screenplay and this is the best script ever. And this is going to solve all my problems if I can just sell this screenplay. Like, look at that. That's a problem, because that's not the truth of it. Even if you got lucky and you sold that screenplay, it's not going to fix your problems. Like, you have to have your life together. You have to have a job that can support you, support your family. You have to find value in who you are as a person, and then start really trying to get your screenplay out there. But if you're always holding on, waiting for this golden ticket, you're going to live a life of disappointment, because this is a hard, hard career. It's a difficult passion. It knocks you down. It puts your face in the dirt, scrapes it a while, and pulls you back up, and then maybe gives you a hug and throws your face right back in the dirt again. It's tough. So have your life together, and then start trying to get your stuff out there. But if you're holding on to this golden ticket, you're waiting for nothing but disappointment. And that's the truth of it. And I don't know if anybody ever discusses that, because I want everybody to succeed, but I don't want you guys like waiting for this moment to happen, and then just being frustrated, when really it's about, being able to live your life and not be so disappointed. Oh, I love that. Screenwriting is my therapy. That is so, so true. Like, it's cathartic. When you're going through a journey with your characters, your characters aren't alone. It's you as well. And so you're going to have emotional moments. And that's when you know you're doing it right. Like, I'll be writing a character's arc. I'll actually end up in tears in the middle of a script, since I'm going through that emotional journey with them. And I think it makes you a better person, but it gives that authenticity to your work as well. And I think that can really lead to some beautiful, beautiful character work. All right, guys. Hey, man, Ibar, I'm happy to help. And if there's anything else you guys need, let me know. Hit me up on the comments, tag me on Instagram, and I will take a look at it, and I'll let you guys know when the podcast is coming out with a new episode, which should be Wednesday. Sometimes it's Thursdays, just because I get a little, life gets busy. And then the new website, give me another week or so, I'll get it up there. It's going to be exciting stuff. I think you guys will be super happy. And thanks again. Thanks for listening to my rambling.